Interview for the movie Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight. It felt like a combination of Empire of the Sun and Zone of Interest. So talk to me about the choices to do this movie.
Of course, it was about Zimbabwe and that particular moment in time. But that story and those characters reminded me of my childhood, right? The idea of being a child in a place that's dangerous, in a place that something wrong is in position, and where you, the child, are helpless in it, where there's danger outside the door. The adults, talk about that being dangerous. And even just being the wild, barefoot child in the middle of it, that was me. I was born in America, but we moved to South Africa when I was 8. I was a barefoot, feral, unfiltered, unsupervised kid. And so there was a wonderment at the world around me, but there was also danger in that. So just so much of Alexandra Fuller's story echoed what I had experienced, and that's why I felt compelled to tell it.
Were you at all tempted, given the way the world is right now, to slip more into it?
There's such a delicate balance between showing the magical, and the interesting thing is that the trickery of it is that the child is a lens, and I'm using that lens to show something to the audience. And if I put something too heavy and too violent and too dark, too much of it, then it would shatter the lens and the audience wouldn't be able to look at it. So it felt like I had to just find the right balance. And even the inserts that I put in the television, there was a bit of it. The radio is telling you 4 people were murdered on their farm, and you hear it in the back of your mind. But I think if I'd put it front and center, it would have been too much for people to take it in.
It's a lyrical, disturbing movie. I want to sit down and talk about. How difficult was it for you to get in front of the camera and keep macro micro?
Such a good question. I couldn't over focus on myself, which is quite a good thing. That character was in me because I'd written it and I'd studied it, I'd read the book, I'd talked to Alexandra Fuller about her mom. So I knew Nicola. And the macro was always on, first and foremost, the child, and then the whole thing. Am I getting shots of nature? Is there a fish eagle? Because I want to cut to a fish eagle at one point. Do I have the things that I want to use and stitch into this? I saved the really difficult scenes for the end. I did find it annoying to have to step in front of the camera. And as an actor, I'm someone who relies on directors. I didn't have time to fixate on myself. I just had to shoot it. But I was enough worn down by the time I shot the very pivotal, hard scenes, just beaten up by the hours, the anxiety of, am I getting it? Am I getting everything I need, of directing the little one, limited time a day with her, that I looked pretty shattered by the time I had to do the hard stuff, and I didn't really have to act it. I mean, I was shattered, and I knew the scenes. I would just go back against the wall, dive in, go for it, guns blazing. I didn't have time to watch footage back, and then I found in the edit that I had enough to put the character together, but it was stressful. I can't say I enjoyed that duality.
Well, it works for the character because it moves you to see this human breaking down through her daughter's eyes. The incredible Lexi Venter. I think that she's obviously an incredible find, but it's a tribute to you as a director to place her in this volatile situation and have everything on her face.
Yeah, so I didn't want an actor. I didn't want a child that had acted before, because unfortunately what happens, very few, 1 in a million children will not start to learn bad habits and start acting, really acting out. And I saw in the auditions when I first started auditioning children that there would just be too much artifice. And I thought, this kid has to be so natural. The world has to be so, seamless, that if I see a kid performing, we're lost. So I put out a Facebook thing, and that's how I found Lexi. And her face, again, I wanted a face that was cinematic, so a face that we wanted to look at. I kept her quite in the dark of a lot of what I was filming. I wouldn't give her the script. because if I did then, and she started to learn it back and forth and practice the lines, and it didn't sound fresh. So, and I kept things very light and playful. I had her dog on set with her, and that's the dog that runs in and out. I always gave her something to play with, and then I would put a very close camera on her and then one a little bit further away, and throw her lines and have her throw her lines back. And I did a lot of fancy footwork with stitching and with using voiceover, because what I didn't want to do was encumber her with heaviness. The whole key to make the audience see her and hear what she's saying was to keep her light and beautiful and free. You know, give her lines to say, because she can't read yet. So it wasn't like I could give her a script. If it was a heavy scene, I would explain to her, you know, these people are fighting, but I kept a lot of it away from her.
You obviously have worked with some incredible directors, Steven Spielberg being one of them. What did you learn from him that you brought to this movie?
Steven brings such a delight to every scene, that he's excited about every single scene that he's shooting. And he was detailed. You know, I want to see the dirty fingernails. He would focus on things like that. And a child, Steven always does this thing where he really knows how to tell children's stories. And then also someone like Robert Altman moved his camera a lot. And I had a little 7-year-old jumping bean that I needed to follow. And so I always said, we've got to have both cameras up and have movement in it, because we're really trying to stay close to her and stay inside of her mind. So I picked up that, and I didn't even know at the time I was picking these things up, because I didn't know I was going to be directing one day. I got to watch them work.
Do you think that there is a message for today?
I do, because I think, first of all, I heard recently a politician saying something derogatory about African countries. And I thought, what's not understood is what African countries inherited, how complicated the history is that leads to what is currently happening there now. That's number one. So it gives a good background for anyone who wants to see what was then, which leads to the now. Plus also the idea of war and conflict. You know, it just keeps continuing. The world keeps rolling out, you know, one war after another. And I'd say, look at where there are children watching. Everywhere that there's a war in the world right now, there are innocent kids that are part of it, whose nervous systems are being formed by it. So probably that.
Anele and Trevor Noah are producers. That's some heavyweight you got there.
I had Rose and Oaks, which is Anele's company, Helena. And because Anele's good friends with Trevor, she showed it to Trevor. And so after the fact, once Trevor saw the film, he said, I want to be connected to this. So he's come on now as an executive producer. Whoever can help us to get people into cinemas. I've always said this film happened by virtue of 1,000 miracles. Trevor's like the last miracle that we just got.
Sikona Bali is amazing, as is everyone. So maybe just a very short sentence about the quality of the talent in South Africa.
Oh, Margaret, it's so deep. You go there as an actor. All I wanted to do was play with all those actors and do theater with them and do stage and have more for them to do. There is so much talent there. And I think it's because we've all lived through the layers of things. There's suffering, there's history there. Their souls are so deep and wide, and there's so much talent there.
Well, I think that this is a beautiful piece of art, and I hope people make an effort to see it, because it will not only start conversations, but it will move you. So congratulations and thank you.
Thank you. Such an honor to meet you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.